After years of tension simmering beneath the surface, the feud between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B has exploded once again, and this time, it's uglier, louder, and far more personal than ever before. What started as a few cryptic posts on X spiraled into a full-blown digital war, dragging in families, fellow artists, and even major music executives.
Fans thought this rivalry had cooled off long ago, but the past week proved that old wounds in hip-hop never really heal. They just wait for the right spark. This latest round of shots isn't just petty Twitter drama. It's reignited a rivalry that has defined female rap for nearly a decade. And the fallout? It's leaving the entire industry divided all over again.
But to really understand how we got here, we need to rewind to where it all began, when competition turned into chaos. It's hard to believe now, but there was a time when Nicki Minaj and Cardi B were celebrated as the unstoppable duo who would redefine female rap. Back in 2017, the idea of two women ruling hip-hop simultaneously felt revolutionary. Nicki had already spent a decade solidifying her reign with hits like Superbass and Anaconda, while Cardi was the fiery newcomer breaking barriers with her breakout single Bodak Yellow. Fans were eager to see collaboration, not conflict, but the media, the fan bases, and the industry had other plans. Almost immediately, headlines started asking the same question over and over. Who's the real queen of rap? That simple narrative, Nicki, the veteran versus Cardi, the rising star, planted the seed for a rivalry that would soon consume the entire genre. By 2018, the tension had reached its breaking point. The infamous Harper's Bazaar Icons Party became the night everything changed. Cameras flashed as chaos erupted between the two rappers in a moment that would be replayed for years to come. Cardi was photographed leaving the event barefoot, sporting a large knot on her forehead, allegedly after an altercation involving Nicki's security. That single image went viral, defining a generation of hip-hop drama. From that moment, their feud was no longer speculation, it was history in motion. The industry divided overnight. Other artists were forced to pick sides, and what could have been one of rap's greatest partnerships turned into an ongoing cultural war. In the years that followed, both women tried to move past the fight, at least publicly. There were moments of calm, times when fans thought the two might finally let go of the animosity, but every silence was temporary. The moment either of them dropped new music, the comparisons came roaring back, bar-for-bar breakdowns, sales debates, and stan wars that dominated every social platform. Interviews, lyrics, and even red carpet appearances were dissected for hidden shade. The feud became bigger than music. It became a narrative the world couldn't stop watching. And while both Nicki and Cardi built their own legacies, the shadow of that night in 2018 has followed them ever since, setting the stage for the explosive clash that would come years later. And when Cardi dropped her newest project in 2025, Nicki decided it was time to remind everyone who started this fight. What seemed like a normal album drop quickly turned into one of the biggest social media explosions of the year. When Cardi B released her highly anticipated album Am I the Drama, fans flooded streaming platforms, thrilled to see her return after years of teasing and delays. The project, which mixed high-energy anthems with introspective lyrics, instantly began trending across every major platform. But the celebration didn't last long. Just hours later, Nicki Minaj took to X, formerly Twitter, with a cryptic post that sent fans spiraling. She simply tweeted 32726, followed by another post reading, "To every enabler, never provoke a writer while they're writing. Let the reindeer games begin. We win again." It didn't take long before her fan base, the Barbs, connected the dots. The timing wasn't random. Nicki's post dropped within hours of Cardi's release, and fans could smell the shade from a mile away. Then came the tweet that broke the internet. $4.99. It was short, but everyone knew what she meant. Nicki was mocking the price of Cardi's new album on iTunes, implying that discounting it was a desperate attempt to boost sales. From there, she escalated things further, calling out one of Cardi's songs, Magnet, for its catchy but simple hook. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, these girls can't F with me. Nicki twisted the lyrics into a taunt, dubbing her rival Barney B and tweeting out a parody verse mocking the rhyme scheme. Within minutes, social media exploded. Memes, remixes, and fan edits flooded timelines. Some laughed it off as typical rap banter, others called it mean-spirited and unnecessary. But one thing was clear: Nicki had officially reignited one of music's most infamous feuds. The internet became divided overnight. Nicki's fans praised her for her lyrical dominance and wit, saying she was defending her throne. Cardi's supporters accused Nicki of insecurity and jealousy, arguing that her tweets were proof she couldn't handle another female rapper succeeding. The feud took over entertainment news, with outlets like Billboard, Complex, and Hot New Hip Hop covering the unfolding drama in real time. The tension was thick, and the conversation quickly shifted from music to ego, legacy, and power. And while Nicki may have started this round of shade with a few cryptic posts, Cardi wasn't about to let it slide. This time she came ready, with words that would hit even harder. Because if Nicki was ready to throw shots, Cardi was more than ready to fire back. If Nicki thought her tweets would go unanswered, she was wrong, because Cardi B came swinging with the kind of energy only she could deliver. Within hours of Nicki's posts, Cardi jumped on X with a flurry of responses that instantly went viral. Her tone was fiery, unfiltered, and personal. "You must have missed me, huh? Now kiss my feet," she tweeted, a line that quickly became one of the most quoted phrases of the week. But that was just the warm-up. She followed it by calling Nicki Cane Barbie, a jab not only at her age, but also at her habit of revisiting old grudges. Cardi's posts were sharp, strategic, and full of confidence, painting a picture of a woman fed up with being taunted by someone she once admired. Fans could feel the tension through every word, and in classic Cardi fashion, she didn't hold back. But what made this round of shade hit harder was how Cardi flipped the narrative. Instead of defending herself, she went on offense. She told Nicki to stop comparing herself to newcomers and start competing with the legends she came up with. "You've been in the game for 16 years, she wrote. "You should be doing Rihanna, Drake, and Taylor Swift numbers, not mine." That statement sent shockwaves through social media. It wasn't just an insult, it was a challenge. Cardi was questioning Nicki's status, her influence, and her ability to evolve in a music landscape that's constantly changing. Fans debated for hours whether she had a point, and major outlets began publishing breakdowns of both artists' sales, streams, and chart history. What was once petty drama had officially turned into a cultural conversation about legacy and longevity. Still, Cardi didn't stop there. She took things to a personal level, referencing sensitive family scandals that Nicki had long tried to keep out of the public eye, including her brother's criminal case and alleged struggles with fertility. It was a line few thought Cardi would ever cross, and reactions were immediate. Some fans said Cardi went too far, while others argued that Nicki had provoked her first by attacking her artistry and motherhood. Either way, the exchange turned social media into a battleground. Memes, diss-edits, and think pieces dominated timelines for days. The feud had officially evolved from petty tweets to an all-out war of words, and the world couldn't look away. And as the dust started to settle, one thing became clear. This was no longer just a rap beef. It was about power, pride, and who truly deserved to sit on the throne of modern hip-hop. But this wasn't just about clout anymore, because now even Jay-Z and Roc Nation were being pulled into the fire. Just when fans thought the feud couldn't possibly get any more complicated, the drama took a sharp turn toward one of the biggest names in music, Jay-Z. Around the same time that Nicki Minaj was firing shots at Cardi B online, she began calling out Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, and its CEO, Desiree Perez, accusing them of unfair business practices and claiming she was owed nearly $200 million tied to her equity in Tidal, Jay-Z's streaming platform. Nicki's claims sparked massive conversations about contracts, streaming rights, and artist exploitation, with her fans arguing that the industry had been plotting against her for years. Then came the twist. Cardi's new song, Imaginary Players, dropped, and it just so happened to sample one of Jay-Z's classic tracks of the same name. According to reports, Jay-Z personally cleared the sample, and Cardi even confirmed in interviews that Hav himself gave her the green light. For Nicki's supporters, that timing was way too suspicious to ignore. It looked like Jay-Z was aligning himself with Cardi, right when Nicki was publicly accusing him of betrayal. Almost instantly, theories started circulating across social media. Was Jay-Z intentionally siding with Cardi as payback for Nicki's accusations? Or was Cardi simply caught in the crossfire of a much larger business feud? The internet had no shortage of opinions. Some fans saw this as a strategic move from Cardi's team, an industry power play designed to send a message. Others believed Nicki's outrage stemmed from years of frustration with powerful gatekeepers who control which artists thrive and which fade away. Major outlets like Complex and The Source began analyzing the layers of this feud, highlighting how business politics were now bleeding into personal rivalries. What was once a lyrical spat between two rap icons had now turned into a high-stakes industry chess game, and both queens were determined not to lose. And just when it seemed like the dust might settle, another rapper entered the chat and made everything 10 times worse. Just when everyone thought the Nicki and Cardi feud couldn't possibly get any wilder, a new player stepped onto the battlefield: Ice Spice. The rising rap star, who has been steadily climbing the charts with her viral hits and playful persona, ignited chaos with just one emoji. She didn't name names, didn't post lyrics, just dropped a single cryptic emoji on X. And that was all it took for the internet to lose its mind. Fans immediately speculated it was aimed at Cardi B, especially given Ice's friendly relationship with Nicki Minaj. Within hours, rumors spread that Ice Spice was preparing a diss track, and social media turned into a frenzy of predictions, fan theories, and leaked snippets. Then, as if the tension wasn't already sky high, an alleged phone call surfaced online where Cardi could be heard snapping, going off about Ice Spice, threatening to fight her, and even calling out other female rappers in the process. The clip circulated everywhere before mysteriously disappearing, blocked and taken down within hours by Warner Music Group, Cardi's own label. That sudden takedown only added fuel to the fire, convincing many that the audio was, in fact, real. When Cardi finally addressed the situation, she admitted the phone call was genuine but insisted it had been leaked without her consent. She publicly apologized to Lado, who had been mentioned during her heated rant, calling it a moment of frustration that got out of hand. But her tone toward Ice Spice was completely different. Cardi doubled down, accusing Ice's manager, James, of being behind the leak. James immediately denied it, saying he wasn't the one who recorded or released the call, claiming he was only looped into the conversation by Cardi's own manager. What followed was a full-on online standoff, Cardi versus Ice's team, each accusing the other of lying. Meanwhile, fans couldn't look away. Some believed Ice Spice was using the moment as part of a rollout for a new track, while others felt she was being dragged into a feud she never wanted. Either way, her subtle emoji had sparked one of the biggest rap debates of 2025, and the internet was eating up every second of it. By now, this feud wasn't just between rappers, it was between entire teams, managers, and fan bases. But even that didn't prepare anyone for what came next. By this point, the situation had spiraled so far out of control that no amount of public apologies could stop the fire. Cardi B's attempt to make peace with Lado earned her some respect, but the damage was already done, and her ongoing tension with Ice Spice's team kept the feud alive. Every hour, new screenshots, tweets, and audio clips were circulating online, painting different sides of the story. Cardi's supporters praised her for standing her ground and refusing to be silenced, while critics accused her of letting her emotions take over. Meanwhile, Nicki Minaj seemed to be taking a quieter, more strategic approach. She wiped her timeline clean, deleting her most explosive tweets, and began reposting clips highlighting her legacy, her chart records, her historic collaborations, and her global impact. To her fans, it was a power move, a reminder that no amount of drama could erase her influence. But to others, it looked like she was dodging accountability while letting her fan base do the dirty work. The internet, as always, was divided. Some viewers argued that Cardi was being unfairly targeted, facing double standards in a male-dominated industry where men feuded publicly without facing the same scrutiny. Others felt Nicki was being baited and provoked after years of defending her title as one of the greatest female rappers of all time. Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube became battlegrounds filled with fan edits, live spaces, and endless debates. Every move the two women made, whether it was a post, a like, or even a subtle lyric, was analyzed and dissected. But just as fans were starting to think the worst was over, Nicki shattered that illusion. Late one night, she crossed a line that no one expected, one that instantly reignited outrage, not just among fans, but across the entire entertainment industry. Because this time, she brought Cardi's children into the feud, and that changed everything. Just when the internet thought it had seen every possible twist in this feud, things took an unexpected and deeply disturbing turn. Late one night, Nicki Minaj allegedly tweeted directly about Cardi B's daughter, using demeaning language that instantly shocked even her most loyal fans. In one of the screenshots that quickly went viral, Nicki was accused of making a cruel comparison between Cardi's child and an animal, an attack that crossed a line no one ever expected her to cross. The reaction was immediate and fierce. Fans flooded X with outrage, demanding accountability, while major entertainment outlets like TMZ and The Shade Room began covering the controversy in real time. The story dominated timelines, and hashtags like Irais Protect Culture and Nicki Minaj Eyes Cancelled started trending worldwide within hours. For many, this was no longer about rap beef or ego. It was about respect, boundaries, and the way women in power use their platforms. Cardi B wasted no time firing back. In a series of passionate posts, she defended her daughter and condemned Nicki's comments as disgusting and unforgivable. "You wish you could call my daughter ugly," she wrote. "My daughter is beautiful, inside and out." Her response resonated with millions of followers, many of whom rallied behind her, arguing that no child should ever be dragged into adult drama. The moment marked a chilling escalation. What started as lyrical jabs and industry shade had turned into a personal war that blurred every line of decency. Even celebrities began weighing in, calling for both women to end the feud before it destroyed their legacies. It was clear the damage had already been done. The once entertaining rivalry had turned dark, leaving fans wondering whether either artist could ever come back from this moment. But even as the world begged for peace, the damage was already done, and the industry was left questioning whether this rivalry had ever really been about music at all. When you step back and look at the chaos, it becomes clear that this feud is much bigger than Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. It's a reflection of how the music industry and social media profits off division, especially among women. Both Nicki and Cardi are powerhouses in their own right, women who broke barriers in a male-dominated genre and proved that female rap could dominate charts, award shows, and global stages. Yet, the same system that celebrated their rise also fueled their rivalry. Labels, blogs, and even fan pages fed into the queen of rap narrative, pushing them to compete instead of coexist. Every headline, every leaked tweet, every public jab generated millions of clicks, and while the internet thrived on their tension, the personal toll on both artists became impossible to ignore. What began as lyrical competition morphed into an emotional war where personal boundaries were crossed, families were dragged, and careers were tested in ways no one could have predicted. At this point, the feud represents more than just two women fighting. It exposes the darker side of fame itself. Both Nicki and Cardi have used their platforms to speak about empowerment, motherhood, and independence, yet they're still trapped in a cycle of comparison that refuses to let either of them truly win. Fans have started questioning whether this rivalry was ever entirely organic, or if the industry quietly encouraged it because conflict sells better than collaboration. But beneath all the noise, there's a shared truth. Both of these women are icons who changed the landscape of hip-hop forever. They've inspired a generation of new female rappers to take up space unapologetically. And maybe, just maybe, if the industry and the public can stop pitting them against each other, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B could both reclaim their narratives. Because at the end of the day, the real victory isn't about being on top, it's about surviving the spotlight without losing yourself to it. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next upload. And don't forget to drop a like and share your thoughts in the comments. It helps the channel grow and lets me know what stories you want covered next.